I live in Italy already for 6 years, and I live in a city called Vicenza, which is 80 kilometers far from Venice.
Venice is almost all pea.
And here are my top tips about what you should do and what you shouldn't do when traveling to Venice. Interested? Keep watching. So today I will talk about some tips on how to travel in Venice as a local. So tip number 1, and here we will talk about where to stay in Venice. Unfortunately, none of my friends have never stayed in Venice through the night when we go for some events there.
Then what do you suggest we do?
Most of the time we check the schedule and take the latest train to come back home, as we live 80 kilometers far from Venice. And here is what I would like to recommend you to do. I see many of the tour guides recommend you to stay in Mestre, which is the closest city to Venice, but it's my personal point of view. I don't want to offend anyone. I don't really see Mestre so attractive, such an interesting city. I recommend you to move a little bit far from Venice and to stay in cities like Padua, Vicenza, which is an amazing city, and for example Bassano del Grappa. These 3 cities are about 80 kilometers far from Venice, but you see the real Italian atmosphere there, and you don't find the city as Mestre full of tourists who are just staying there because it's much cheaper than in Venice. So if you would like to follow, this is a tip number 1. So if you have decided to follow my tip number 1 and you have stayed at cities that have more Italian atmosphere and not that touristic like Mestre or Venice, so you probably rented a car and now you're wondering where should I park the car for all day while I'll be in Venice. And that's tip number 2. We never travel to Venice by car, as parking at the Venice, they're very expensive. What do we do instead? We go by train.
Scusi.
So whenever you arrive to the station of any of the Italian city, you anyway have to pay for the parking, a little bit cheaper than in Venice, but still you have to be sure that you will not get the fine. Whenever you're checking the train schedule, you can just go and type down the city you're leaving from and Venice as a final point of destination, and you check the bus train that suits you, and you check also the information about in which cities the train is stopping. In this way you see also the small villages where the train stops, and I guarantee you that in small cities the parking is for free. That is why you can arrive to this small city by car and from there take the train directly to Venice. So you have parking for free, you can be sure that you will not get the fine, and have a nice day in Venice. So here is the tip number 3, and it's what to eat in Venice. And probably here I will tell you a small secret, which actually valid in all around Italy, not just in Venice.
I mean, talk away. I'm all ears. Well,
what you can do, you can just go in any store, in any grocery store in Italy, and there is always this place where at the end of the store you have all the ham and prosciutto and stuff like that, and cheese selling. What you can do there is to ask you to make panino.
Nonna, c'ho una fame!
Ci vuole un bel panino così col salame?
Sì, proprio su un panino proprio di quelli.
Subito, pronto!
Panino is just a sandwich, but they're making you a fresh sandwich just for you. You just choose the type of bread you want, you choose the ham you want and the cheese inside, and it's okay if you take just 2 slices of ham. You're not obliged to take some minimum amount, that's fine. In this way you save the money and you enjoy your perfect panino. So the fourth tip, and in my opinion it's one of the most important tips I can give anyone if you decide to go to Venice, is to arrive to the city as early as possible. I know it's hard whenever you're on vacation to wake up early and stuff like that, but it's so much worth it. If you arrive to the city at like 6 in the morning, I'm not sure if there are the trains that early, but you can check it. Anyway, when you arrive there and you see no people outside, or they're mostly the citizens who are waking up and going to work, or students going to university, you can still catch these couple hours of the real life Venice, because after 9 a.m. it transforms in the crowded city, or at every square you see people posing and stuff like that. If you don't want to avoid it and to see a real city, come early in the morning. Also, you can take amazing photos with a canal, with the different squares. It's just amazing and so much worth to do that. So guys, my final 5th tip on traveling to Venice.
Can't believe it's over.
I can imagine you're arriving to Italy and you obviously want to go shopping and bring some souvenirs from Italy. I recommend you to avoid these central streets of Venice with these luxurious brands, which you can find actually anywhere. Even in the airport you can find the Prada, Gucci and Furla and other brands. I mean, you're in Italy, and Italy is not just luxurious brands. There are so many handcrafts, there are so many these small cutest shops which I totally recommend you to visit, and just get off these streets where you see a lot of crowd of tourists. That's for sure the wrong way. You should just go around somewhere smaller streets. First of all, you will be talking with the Italians who are working in the shops and not with the foreigners. As you know, in the luxury stores they're just native Chinese, Russians, they're all the foreigners who are working there, so you don't get this real Italian atmosphere. I recommend you just to go to the small shops, even vintage markets which is organized in Venice very often, and you can find real jewels there.
Jesus!
That's it, guys. These were my 5 tips on how Italians, how the locals travel to Venice. So if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, as I'm a very beginner here on YouTube, and write in the comments below if there is anything else I can give you the recommendations about traveling to Italy, and I will give you my point of view as a local. Bye guys!